What's up, Destined Ones? It's the Cause, and this is my How to Beat Yellow Luong boss guide. I'm going to go over a strategy and a build in detail that will give you a great chance at taking him down with a modicum of ease, given how difficult of a boss fight this is. This is one of my top 3 or 4 requested boss fight guides, and if you watch this full video and deploy this strategy, he will be defenseless during an all-out assault, which his life bar will melt in front of your eyes. After the strategy, I'll show you a successful battle against Yellow Luong and provide some commentary as well. I'm trying to build a community of gamers around this channel who want to play good and do good. So, half of anything I ever make on YouTube goes to a charity we choose every few months. I upload receipts and everything, so do us all a favor. Use one of those light attack combos to hit the like button and drop a charged attack on that subscribe button. I appreciate it, and only do it if this video does anything for you. The first section of this guide is where I'll review an attack strategy with a build that maximizes that strategy, along with some tips and tricks that can help make this fight a little bit easier. So, starting off, let's talk about my two-phase strategy called Built for Comfort and Speed. More than any other fight up to this point, strategy is everything. And we will be deploying a two-phase strategy. Again, I call that Built for Comfort and Speed. See, Yellow Luong gets way more challenging, like way more challenging as the fight goes on. His early combos are way more comfortable. Hence, the first phase is Built for Comfort. Here you'll need to kick his ass using good old-fashioned basic attack and defense, and then, eventually, his combos get longer and way more difficult to manage. This is where we pick up the pace in Phase 2, Built for Speed. In this phase, we will use our build, our spells, spirits, transformations, maybe even some consumables to launch an all-out assault. Aim to do this when he has lost a third, but ideally half of his life. And my victorious fight was less than 2 minutes. That's how quick you want to be. I'll break down both of these phases after a few more tips and a deep dive into what specifically was in my build. The next part of our strategy I call Thirsty for Thrusting, and I'll talk more about this in the build section. But yeah, I like using thrust stance for this fight, and this, I can say, is the first boss fight I've really focused on thrust stance, mainly because tactical retreat and deploying quick, focused enhanced attacks did me a lot of favors. I recommend, though, practicing with it quite a bit before this. Even if you use Smash or Pillar, though, honestly, 95% of the tips in this video still very much apply. My next strategy is How to Train Your Dragon. This strategy tip is essentially go into several fights with him just to get the timing of his early combos. This will help us with Phase 1, Built for Comfort. It's called that because we should be able to figure out the timing of his combos in the first half of the fight or the first half of his life bar way more easily than the second half. So How to Train Your Dragon is all about getting the timing so you can perfect dodge several of his base, less chaotic combos, and if you do, it will see you through that first phase before our all-out attack. The next part of our strategy is key to success. Like so many bosses, Yellow Luong has a combo with multiple phases, each with different timings and build-up, perplexing even the most clever of monkeys. So much so that you'll wish you just had a key for an easy exit out of having to engage with this combo at all. So let's go over that key to success and show you in detail how to pick up on the combo I'm talking about so you can stop it before it stomps you. Stomps and electrocutes you. The indicator of this combo is Yellow Luong stabbing his spear into the ground and instantly charging the spear with electricity. There is a bit of a build-up, but once it's charged, he will do a very fast darting attack where he'll end up in the air. From there, he will do darting attack after darting attack before stomp attack after stomp attack. To render this combo null and void, you can deploy the Wind Tamer key. The only word of caution here is that he won't wait very long to try this combo again. So, should you find yourself in the middle of this lightning storm, remember, after he charges fully, he will dash. So, make some space so you have more time to react. I found after that, if I ran towards him between dashed attacks and dodged towards him, the timing worked well, and then you just have to anticipate 1 to 3 stomp attacks after dodging them in turn. Our next tip and strategy is Solid as a Rock. You'll see later on that I recommend bringing Rock Solid for your alteration. That's when I go into depth on build. You may also know at this point that most bosses have an attack that when it gets you, it really gets you, an animation plays out, and it leaves your monkey as bruised as your ego. For Yellow Loong, this move comes after a successful deployment of Rock Solid. After about a second, he will do a quick attack with almost no buildup that can totally devastate you. So, the way to defend against this is anticipate it. You know when you deploy a Rock Solid successfully, this is very likely going to happen. Know also that after you deploy a successful Rock Solid, there is time to get a light attack or two in before you need to dodge, and then you can finish up the light attack combo. Alright, on to Build Me Up Buttercup. This is the part where I go through our build in depth, and yeah, it's time for me to build you all the way up, Buttercup. So let's review a build that will tip the scales in your favor. I'll try to order these from most important to least important. The two most important things are a pluck of many for your strand, and not just the pluck. You're going to have to spend the bucks to upgrade this as much as you can because it is essential to our plan. Also extremely important is the red tides for our transformation. Yellow Loong seems to be particularly vulnerable to staggering from this Wolf's light attack combos. Add in the potential to light his ass ablaze, and we're nearly ready for the barrage of clony fiery pain. The good news is that you don't need this upgraded at all to do what we need it to do. After those two, I would say Immobilize for Mysticism is the next most important. This will help you in Phase 1 and Phase 2, where in Phase 1, you may have time to get a Immobilize spell casted, get in some good damage, and build your focus meter. And then in Phase 2, hopefully your spell has cooled down, giving you enough time to launch your all-out assault of Pluck of Many, your transformation, maybe the Gore-Eyed Taoist, maybe some pellets. For alteration, as I said before, I'd recommend Rock Solid. I didn't use it a lot in my successful battle, but even using it once or twice in a fight will allow you to get almost a full light attack combo in, assuming you do what I mentioned, which is anticipate that animation attack that he does after about a 1 count of a successful deployment of Rock Solid. Another recommendation that I didn't get to use in my successful attack, but I had every intention of doing so, is including an upgraded Gore-Eyed Taoist, which will upgrade your attack within a certain range and increase your max mana as a spirit. You can deploy this during Phase 2 along with your pluck and your transformation. As I said, I forgot to do it, and in using it, you might be pushing how much you can do all at once or in during an Immobilize spell, but if you do pull it off, it's stacking the deck even more in your favor. Everything else from here is just a bit of a boost, but not as important as everything up to this point. As I said, I use Thrust Stance, and in order for this to be better than Smash Stance in this boss fight, it means spending Sparks aplenty. Particularly offense in defense, which allows for a tactical retreat, a move that can help you get a couple of hits in and move back to give yourself some time to see what combo he's bringing your way. And even a bit more important is Deadly Dance. With 4 focus points, you can dodge or perfect dodge right into an instant, fully focused enhanced thrust of doom, satisfying and effective. You certainly could use the Loong Scale Armor, which helps with shock, as does the Thunderstone Curios, but if all goes according to plan, the only person who will have to worry about shock is the one on the receiving end of our storm of pain and retribution. For this first phase, some enhanced Tiger Pellets could be useful as well. any pellets that you actually think might help you, including the ones that slowly enhance your focus. Really up to you. And the word of caution here is that in order to deploy phase 2, we need a bit of time. And typically I recommend an immobilized spell to give you time to get your Pluck of Many and transformation. Now it's up to you how and when before that point. You may also want to get some pellets in and get that Gore-Eye Taoist deployed. Alright, now that we've covered the strategy from the top down, let's actually dig into the two different phases, starting with phase 1, built for comfort. This is where you're treating him like any other boss. Get his timing well enough to dodge, perfect dodge, and attack during his brief vulnerability windows, build your focus meter, and deploy your focused enhanced attacks. You will need to do this until his life is at about half. And I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying that if you can manage this first half without dying, the second half, you won't be needing to worry about gourd sips because you are going to melt his life away. And that brings us to our second phase, built for speed, where we're going to look at when we have taken about half of his life. And to pull this off, you're going to need to immobilize Yellow Loong or wait until a pause between attacks. Either way, you should start the barrage with Pluck of Many. This will keep him busy while you can get, for sure, your transformation going. Or maybe, if you want to push the envelope, a Gore-Eye Taoist and then your transformation. Ideally, you're doing this in or around a wall or a corner of the fighting arena so he can't retreat. Once you are actually in your transformation and your Pluck of Many is plucking away, just deploy light attack combos alongside your clones. You will find that between your clones and you, he staggers often enough to not get much, really, if any, attacks off. If you see him find enough room to pull off a combo, dodge what you can and then get back to it. Once your meter is full, I do recommend you unleash your special attack by pressing heavy attack after a dodge with red tides. But note that that takes up a lot of your might, I believe it's called. So with that in mind, really focus on the light attacks because that's going to keep him staggered and keep you in control of the fight.
Sire's head.
Alright friends, let's now look at my successful boss fight against Yellow Loong, where I'm going to give some commentary that sort of plays out my strategy in the strategy video. So as we get started here, we're in phase 1, built for comfort. That means that we have practiced enough where his base combos, before they get real complicated and tough, we've got his timing down so we can get his life down to a third to a half before we deploy phase 2. Now, there are some combos he has that are particularly difficult to get the timing if you can't spend 6 days straight working on this boss fight. So just remember, use as many gourd sips as you want here, because phase 2 is going to involve melting his life away so quickly you're not going to have to worry about your gourd use. Now, in terms of vulnerability windows, just know that they're very short. So that's kind of why I like thrust stance. I could just get a couple attacks in and then maybe tactical retreat. And if I had enough bards, I could then deploy a focused enhanced attack. But I was really a cheeky monkey, or tried to be. I didn't really expect that I would ever get a full combo off. Sometimes maybe I'd be able to use composure to be able to get 2 attacks in, dodge, and then finish my light attack combo. But I never expected it. More than anything, I expected I'd probably get my ass kicked a little bit here. But mostly, I'm just going to get my licks in where I can, get those focus bars all built up, and deploy focused enhanced attacks to really try and bring his life down. We're about to get to the point where it gets pretty interesting. And of course, anytime we can get a perfect dodge on that last attack. So here's his like super build up super annoying attack. So this is where we use our Wind Tamer key. And after we do that, we know he's going to try and do that again very soon. So this is where I start putting the pedal to the metal. I use my full focus enhanced attack to do a big chunk of damage. And now I immobilize him. And typically I would say immobilize him and then use your Pluck of Many and your transformation, but I ended up doing this to be able to then get another fully focused enhanced attack in, and build up my focus meter. And you can see that that involved taking a lot of his life, to the point where he's almost down to his last third, which you don't need to get this far. You won't need to do that to win this boss fight. But since I got him with the focus enhanced attack, I'm like, okay, there's enough time to move into phase 2 built for speed. So this is where we get our fully upgraded Pluck of Many, our Red Tide's transformation going here in a moment. I had to dodge some attacks. You wouldn't have to worry about this if you saved your immobilization spell for now. But luckily, my clones came in handy. They immobilized him. I got my Red Tides going. Now, during the Red Tide and clone war, you are going to be focusing primarily on light attacks with your wolf buddy here. Once your bar is full, you can do a dodge in that hit triangle, and that will almost certainly light his ass on fire. So after that, you're going to just keep sticking to those light attacks. You don't need a fully upgraded. This is not a fully upgraded transformation. Keep him in a corner. Keep him up against a wall as best you can, and you got it. That's all you need to do. It might take a few tries, but in my impression, using this strategy finally made me feel like I could control the fight and take it to him if I just could get down his early combos well enough. As always, if this did anything for you, don't forget to like and subscribe. 30% of anything I ever make from YouTube goes to a charity we choose as a subscriber community every few months. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you next time.